At long last, public enemy number one was headed to the slammer.
Now handcuffed to a car thief, he is being removed from the scene of his underworld empire to a jail in the southern state of Georgia. And this not for murder, vice, conspiracy, or even bootlegging, but for failing to render a true income tax return.
Yes, Al Capone was going away for 11 years for tax evasion. Since the Brooklyn-born gangster arrived and took over the Chicago mob in 1925, his reputation and high-flying lifestyle were legendary. He ran gambling, prostitution, and bootlegging rackets, not to mention the murders of all the rival gang members that the feds could never nail him for. Occasionally, he'd be convicted of a minor offense, like possessing a concealed handgun or contempt of court.
Well, they got him at last, but you got to watch closely if you want to see him. Al has just been sentenced to 6 months in the hoosegow for contempt of court. Now get ready. He's the man who's holding his hand to his hat. You know, Al doesn't like to have his pictures taken. Well, here he comes, and there he goes. Took 2 years to get him, but Uncle Sam has lots of patience.
But even the infamous 1929 St. Valentine's Day massacre, where 7 of Capone's rivals were machine-gunned down on a public street, couldn't put Capone away for good. President Hoover got involved, ordering the feds to get Capone on income tax evasion. Finally, October 1931, Capone was convicted of tax evasion and prohibition charges. Shortly after, the famous mob boss was on his way to his new home in Atlanta.
Talk about excitement at the county jail. It's finally come to pass. And here's the proof. Mr. Alphonse Capone, alias Mr. Al Brown, alias the Big Shot, has met the enemy, and he is theirs, on his way to the Dearborn Street Station with an escort that'll do credit to a sultan. It won't be long now before the world's most notorious gangster will only be an offensive memory. And if he behaves himself while he's the guest of Uncle Sam in Atlanta, he'll be out again in only 7.5 years. And so, up until 1940, Mr. Capone will be Mr. 40,886.
While in prison in Atlanta, Capone was caught bribing guards, so he was sent to the dreaded Alcatraz. He was released after only 6.5 years, suffering from dementia caused by syphilis. But he never ran anything again.